Darksol188, take it away.
Hi, hey there, and good morning to GDQ. I'm Darksol188, or you can call me Soul, even works. Also, let me go ahead, Tracy, why don't you introduce yourself as well, before we get started?
Hello, I'm the terrific Tracy, fellow Kirby runner, and we are excited to bring you this great run today.
Yeah, so I think, let's go ahead and take it away. So, 3, 2, 1, go. There's gonna be a lot to explain, so while I did all that setup, Tracy, why don't you go ahead? It's gonna be a bit.
Okay, so a lot of things are happening right here at the start. The very first thing is that we reset the game so that these two enemies would get in position for a mix setup. Unfortunately, it went a little screwy, but that's okay. But basically, mixes, they're in most Kirby games, and usually, at least in the older ones, they aren't any random in the order that they go in. In this game, it's set up by the second enemy that you inhale, and it goes in a certain order. So ideally, we'll be mixing for UFO most of the time, because UFO is a very fast and strong ability. And this category is any % no stone glitch. So we will be using a glitch that lets us keep UFO indefinitely, as well as a new glitch that was implemented into the run last year.
Yeah, which, on that note, shout out to having a glitch that happened only once in practice happen, again. That's slightly worse. But that's okay.
Okay.
There is another way around
mixes. Yeah, mixes can be pretty difficult. They are not frame perfect to time, but they are, they cycle through the powers by about 4 frames each, so, it can be a bit difficult to time. This game would normally run around 60 frames, sometimes a bit above, depending on the version that you're running on exactly. But anyways, we have got UFO now, finally, and we have done the glitch. There are 2 ways to do the glitch that lets you keep a power indefinitely. If you are revisiting a level, you get to use the second method that Darksol did, which is easier, where you press pause and select on the same frame. And Kirby should try to drop the ability, but it won't actually leave from their body, so then you can just exit the level and it will keep it.
Also, I hope you like seeing mini boxes for like half a second, because that's about how long all of them last. UFO has 4 different attacks, without charging it at all. You get a beam attack. Slightly charging it gives you a laser, then a single star, and then finally a double star. These do lots of damage, and pretty much anything that we have to fight is going to die very quickly as a result. A lot of the stuff that we're going to be doing here involves a lot of lap reduction. That's why you'll see me shoot a lot of different enemies here and there. Because this is a very late NES game, and it pushes it to its absolute limits, and that means it also lasts a lot.
Yeah, this is a very gorgeous game from 1993, and for an NES release at that time, they put a lot of love and work into this game. It's the second largest game on the system, and yeah, there's lots of enemies around, so they will cause a lot of lag.
Yeah, and just to play it safe with right up to me, because I'd like to not die, because if I die, I'll lose UFO.
Yes, so normally UFO is so fast, so strong that they knew we wouldn't want the player to be using this everywhere. So normally beating a level would just remove it from you. But since we did the infinite ability glitch, we can just have it literally anywhere.
Yeah, pretty much we said no.
And so, speaking of, we're kind of getting through the first world really quickly. We will see how much damage it does to the boss on the next screen.
Yeah, if you think it does take out mini bosses quickly, which are usually 2 hits, bosses take 3.
Yeah, the majority of the bosses literally will just take 3 hits, so they barely get time to survive past their health bar filling up.
This is Wispy Woods. That was Wispy Woods. I hope you enjoyed that summary.
Goodbye, Wispy. Also, grabbing the wand is funny. In normal runs where we do not utilize UFO the whole time, you usually want to land on it in a manner so that Kirby will end up in the center, because usually Kirby will end up walking from the left or right side of the screen to the center of the dance. But with UFO, we can just position ourselves over the wand every time and just fly straight down into it, which does like zip us to the floor with speed.
Yeah, there'll be one time you'll get to see the upper method, and that is for Ravens. That will come up later.
That was a really good shot on that Twister, because when they start spinning, their tornado is like invincible. When you really want to push this run, you want to try shooting pretty much every enemy like the frame they appear on the screen, which can be quite hard to do accurately every time.
Yeah, you'll also see some enemies I have to time a shot, and if I don't time it right, I just don't hit them, period. For now, those things are going to be fine, and as long as I don't do anything weird in this mini-boss that's about to come up, we shouldn't have to worry about too much. This mini-boss there's actually a way to hit the block behind it, and if you do that, it does drive off and take a break. And all you can do is just wait. It's funny, but also slightly annoying. Also, Sparkies love generating lag, as do another enemy, Hothead, and also these Waddle Dudes. Anytime they use their attack, it just creates a lot of particles, and once that happens, that's most of your RNG, in fact. It's just gonna be lots of stuff like that. Anyways.
Yeah, the beam, spark, and flame attacks all use a lot of sprites that just like overload the game and cause a lot of lag. But here comes the new glitch that has been implemented into the run. Oh my gosh, we got a first try. We've decided to call this the collision pause glitch, and it happens so successfully that I'm going to take a moment to explain what just happened at all. So it turns out that if an enemy like loads onto the screen and you pause the game on like the very first frame they appear on, the game pauses like normal. Kirby pauses, everything else pauses. But that enemy that just loaded on in that frame is not affected by the pause at all, so they keep moving. And depending on where the enemy and Kirby are positioned, they'll keep moving and they will bump into Kirby. And if Kirby is bumped into while the game is paused, then you get control back. And while you have control on the pause screen, all of the game's collision is completely screwed up. So you can just like go through walls or doors that are in places where they shouldn't be. And that's actually super duper handy for UFO. This category used to be quite more difficult and slower without this glitch, because in that level where we did the equip, we used to not be able to take UFO through it because it has a weakness where it can't go down ladders or any kind of drop through platforms. But because of that clip being utilized there, we don't have to worry about that anymore, and it saves a lot of time too.
Yeah, anyways, this stage we just finished and the next one really don't have anything else to really comment on. It's going to be a lot of the stuff that Tracy has just talked about. So if there's any donation comments, Argick, go ahead.
Thank you, we do. There's a lot of Kirby love here. $20 from Triptychs R. I've probably butchered that name, I apologize. Donating before one of my favorite runs, Kirby's Adventure. Because work calls during that time. Can't wait to watch it on replay. Set the cute loose and go on full adorable rampage. We also have a $20 donation from Eccentric Rune that says, "Good luck, Darksol. Give it all you've got. Take your very best shot."
Oh, trust me, that is UFO in a nutshell.
And we also have a $20 donation from Crystalline Mitch that says, "Hi, Sol. Good luck on the run."
Yeah, they were saying about doing that around in the morning. But glad they were able to catch it. Anyway, so this is Paint Roller. He will not be drawn as a pitcher today. That is why.
Goodbye, Paint Roller. It's so funny. This boss has no luck at the start. They will always move to the top right, so every single time they are just doomed to fall to that.
Yeah, also, someone said about this being one of their favorites. Yeah, so this has been the first time it's been on GDQ in 10 to 11 years. Its last showing was... I didn't get it, that's fine. But anyways, its last showing was, I think you were saying 2012, Tracy? When you were telling me about it?
Yes, actually, the very first time Kirby's Adventure was in a GDQ, it was in 2012 by ROM Scout, and back then they were running the UFO focus category, where it didn't really have a name, it was just any percent at the time, I think. But anyway, yeah, so it's been a long time, and this run has changed so much since, especially with the new pause clips.
Yeah, especially within the last year, because the pause clip is actually a relatively recent discovery.
And the major clips in the game will save a minute in total, so it's super handy.
Yeah, for example, Zero is actually showing off there's one in this stage, but it's really hard to pull off. It loses a lot of time if you don't get it, so it's really only worth it if you can get it. By the way, shout out to Shiro on the Japanese restream. Honestly, seriously, massive thank you, arigato to him, because, some of the stuff I've learned from this runs from him, some of the stuff has been from Tracy, and this is one of the few times we have to drop Yoda, because good as it is, it can't climb ladders.
Yeah, it'll go up them, just won't go down them, it gets stuck. So we're gonna drop it, and we're gonna do our best to mix back UFO here, and hopefully do the glitch from the other method.
That's fine, I'll just write it in. Luckily, you can just respawn these two, so you can keep trying until you get it. Okay, that's good.
Awesome.
That's awesome. That's okay. I'm just gonna...
So the other method for doing the glitch involves running into an enemy and pressing select at the same time. Because before, when you do it the safer way, you pause and press select. In this manner, I assume the game is doing something where it's trying to drop the ability from you hitting select, but also getting hurt it drops your ability too. So in doing both, the game just lets you keep it.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's a little hard to time sometimes because you basically have to be on top of the enemy and then, perfectly do it like this.
Awesome. Honestly, it's a very difficult trick. This run in general is pretty unforgiving. It's unforgiving to a sense. You can always finish the run, but if you miss a lot of these frame-perfect tricks, you're going to lose so much time. So not a lot of people have felt like running this category.
Which is admittedly fair. You have, the 4-frame tricks with the mixes, all of the, pause, anything that involves the pause collision glitch or the infinite ability glitch is frame-perfect. And this comes up a lot during the run, so it's definitely hard. Also, somebody was mentioning the remake. Yeah, there is a remake for this. Sadly, there's no real big glitches in that version. So you can't do anything cool like this, sadly. At least, the game is cool. Just, you can't do, UFO glitch in it. Or infinite ability glitch.
Also, 2 things to note. That one room, she ran into that enemy and flew through there. That was on purpose, just because attacking with your beam or laser would actually cause so much more lag than just getting hurt and running through them. And then secondly, the one room, I'm very glad you got through the door there. The UFO is weak to platforms and ladders that you can't go through, and then also wind will push up on it with a lot of force. It's hard to fight against it.
Yeah, anyways, while I made very short work of bonkers here, go ahead and read off a couple more donations.
Of course, we have a $20 donation from the ASP00 that says, "To the pink puffball who can do it all." And of course, it's a Kirby game, so you knew they were coming. $20 donation from Kirby that simply says, "Hiya!"
Perfect. Especially considering the donation hashtag I went with.
So something funny I want to note in general about doors is that UFO moves so quickly, and doors have a very narrow hitbox. Sometimes it can be really easy to just end up missing the door entirely like that, where if you're trying to go really fast because of how quickly it's going, yeah, you just kind of zip right by it.
Yeah, and then once that happens, you just circle around the door trying to get in, and sometimes it just doesn't work.
It's funny because sometimes doors can even be a pain in other Kirby runs. There tends to be a joke in the Kirby community that doors are like the final boss of the game sometimes.
Yeah, also, I mentioned the bosses take 3 hits. I slightly lied. This one technically takes 4. But it's because they're half a boss each.
Which, speaking of this boss, I love this fight so much in this category. In the normal runs and in the remake of this game, most runners, like, they guess on if you're gonna get the sun or the moon first. Some people sit in the middle. But in this run, you can just pick one side and then attack whoever goes first, no matter what. It's just so funny to me.
You just sit there charging a shot and it's just like, wait a minute, what? And then they're gone. Also, this is the first stage that actually has UFOs outside of the hidden one in Run 1-1. And yeah, this is when the game first expects you to actually experience this.
Yeah, without going out of your way to find hidden UFOs in 1-1 or 2-3, I think.
Oh yeah, 2-3 also has a not as hidden room. You actually see it plainly if you can actually hit the bomb block.
It's not hidden, but it's tricky to get in there.
Now this one, there is a way to hit that Sparky. It's very hard. We're not doing it.
Luckily, the Sparky didn't attack anyway.
Yeah, yeah. Like we've mentioned, if it attacked, that would have sucked.
Yeah, lots of enemies in here causing lots of lag. Nice beam.
Also in the next room, the game has gotten slightly wise and figured, well, if one mini-boss isn't really working out, why don't we just use two? Unfortunately, this attack penetrates. Like so.
Oh, and you actually hit both of them. Nice. Sometimes they can not cooperate nicely and you have to use extra stars.
I'm seeing remarks about Orb. Wait, just wait for later. Orb is coming. In the meantime, is there any new donations since we're just gonna be flying through basically the top of the stage here?
Oh, we got plenty. We got a $50 donation from Blizzard120 that says, "All hail the Beam Queen, for she is back at GDQ. Hey Saul, despite being at work, I wasn't going to be missing your run if I could help it. So when are we going to see Beam percent at GDQ? Then again,
Go on.
then again, UFO is a type of Beam percent, isn't it? Donation goes to Saul's choice and incentive."
Yeah, which that's going to Trackmania, or Stepmania. It's the rhythm game. I want to see that. Rhythm game showcases are always great. Also, it's funny he mentions that because I did try to do that for I think I actually submitted that to one of the marathons. It didn't do it in though. I honestly, it was kind of, I expected it to not. It's kind of an arbitrary run. But it is a fun one. Maybe one day. Until then...
The funny thing...
Go on.
The funny thing with this level, in the normal categories, is that you would want to mix for UFO here to fight the mini-boss, because that is faster in those routes, but it is one of the hardest mixes to do in terms of setup, but I'm always relieved when I'm running this category at the least, because you just have UFO already. Like, it does not matter. Because those two enemies and those staircases, they're like way spread apart. You have to do a very specific jump to catch them.
They're also the worst in this run because since you don't have to deal with them, they instead attack, and sometimes they both do, and then it's just pain.
Also, something I had forgotten to mention at the end of every level, it keeps saying, well, actually, I don't recall how many times you've landed on the bottommost one, but if you land down there, it'll say press A and whatnot. And ironically, we are pressing A or B. We're trying to press it on the very first frame of landing so that we get the lowest possible launch. But of course, trying to actually do that is difficult. And the longer you press down on it, of course, the higher you go. So we want to try to avoid that if possible. Also, very glad this arena is the only one that has any sort of luck to it with an enemy that just spawned in the center, but luckily the UFO takes such quick work of the enemies that you can destroy it as it's spawning, so that was really good.
Also charge the attack there because sometimes the vulnerable can easily hit you, and if you charge that attack you can get rid of it, and then the rest of them actually can't hit you from there. Oh, but yeah, otherwise very, very good stage. That arena mostly goes well, and it's sometimes that one enemy that Tracy mentioned will just not. cooperate. And then you just have to recover from it.
Yeah, everything's been going smoothly. It's good to see.
Yeah, so...
World 4 hasn't really had any major things to worry about. When running this category, you're usually just relieved to get through it.
Pretty...
Because you don't have to do another mix or glitch.
I was still fine. Sometimes enemies can be a little, finicky, but it's all good. We're gonna be having a censor Pratchett here, so there's gonna be this is a good spot for donations. You're just gonna watch Pratchett to outspend until like the end.
All right, we got a $50 donation from Bella Vita, and they're saying, Kirby's Adventure was my favorite game on the NES when I was a kid. And I was today years old when I learned you can get UFO in the first world. I'm overwhelmed by nostalgia. Good luck to the runner, and thanks for running this amazing game. We also have a $20 donation from KT Face that says, Argick hype, Kirby hype, so much hype. And you know it, we got all the hype there. We have a $20 anonymous donation that just says, must win Kirby prizes. Best of luck, Darksol. Hype.
Oh, the Kirby prizes are great.
Oh, the Kirby prizes. No, they are fantastic. Again, have a look at the GDQ website at the prizes there. $10, $15, $20 minimum donations there, depending on which prize you're aiming for. And those also go towards the cumulative grand prizes as well. All the information can be found on the GDQ website. And then we also finally here, we have a $75 donation from Hamstar that says, I love this little pink puffball and I love GDQ. I've had a rough week at work and this is one of the highlights of my week. I'm happy to donate to a good cause. Poyo!
I would try to give a Poyo in kind, but I would probably butcher it in my attempt, so I will just politely refrain. Also, UFO can't go down ladders, so we have to drop it again, but that's okay.
Goodbye, UFO. Also, here we will do a pause glitch with just Kirby without a UFO's time, and the setup for this can be a bit tricky to get down because with UFO, like while it does move quick, it can be kind of easy to just like get yourself in position and stop it, but here we have to do it while falling. This enemy on the wall down here, the bounder, we need to... Oh my gosh, very good first try.
Oh, okay, right. Then that
was awesome.
That went easier than intended.
Yeah, that was awesome. And also, funny thing, so you saw that Kirby got hurt, and then we just floated up, and then we went through the door. That door is supposed to be, like, that room is split in half. The top half, where we came through, and then the bottom half below is where we need to get to by going through the level, but we skipped the entire level. But we should fall through the floor and get to that door, but the collision is so messed up in the pause menu that the door got placed above us and we can just reach it without unpausing.
And ideally, this should be the last time we have to mix for UFO in the run.
Yes, this, if you're deciding to run this category, going back to that level for that mix is the easier alternative to trying to mix for it in this level, and it only really loses like 9 seconds at best, which honestly is not that big a deal for a run like this.
Yeah, for that matter, getting that glitch first try is like 30 seconds. It's huge how much time you save in that one. Also, that hothead is mean.
Unfortunately. But yeah.
At least there's only one. Sometimes you can get more than one attack in, and it's even worse. Also, slopes in this game are kind of weird if they don't lead off to a flat surface. Kirby will slow down a lot after going through one.
Yeah, normally in this game, when you're just controlling Kirby, slopes, they can be really fun. They're physics, like they try to be a bit realistic with them. You can slide down them and build up a lot of speed, but when you push up them at an incline, you slow down a lot, and brushing the UFO into that kind of still uses those physics. So yeah, if the top of the slope is just pointed, then it'll kill like all of your speed, but if the top of it is flat, then it just straightens out and you continue with all your speed.
Yeah, anyways,
also, this arena, this one can be a little scary, but it should go fine because these platforms you can't drop through, so you have to defeat everything on the bottom floor in order as they spawn, and then try to avoid going to the top. But but that's not too difficult to do when you know what to do.
Yeah, the other thing UFO can't do is go down ledges. So if you get on the top ledge, you have no choice but to drop it, which, yes, you drop a star. There is actually no ability.
Right.
But the
game says you're normal. So
yeah,
you drop that power, you can't get anything back off of it.
Yeah, so in that point, you have to go back and get UFO'd in, which is less than ideal. It's like 30 seconds if that happens. And we're just gonna... Well, okay,
yeah,
we missed a few of those, but that's okay.
Going down that room looks really goofy like that, but honestly, the fastest way down that room is with the ball ability, but we want to keep UFO, so in the end, it's just faster to go down slowly, but there were just way too many enemies going up, so just kind of running into them and trying to shoot whatever we can to reduce as much lag as possible.
Also, speaking of slopes, their collision is kind of just weird in general. Like, I kind of briefly touched on it when we went into 4-2. But this is probably a much better example. Like, you see this house here.
This roof is very special. The corner of it, the way that it slants down, and then the bottom of it, the way they connect, there's a very tiny gap in between there, so you can actually get through there. And that was a very good, very good attempt. Great job. So yeah, it's honestly, it's not the hardest to do with UFO, but like trying to set it up quickly can be a little tricky. But yeah, with normal Kirby, it's a little more finicky to get through that wall and the roof. Yeah,
it's very easy to just kind of fly over and then you just overdo it. And then it's rough. If we went through there would be a mini-boss Fire Lion that would have to be taken out. Like, for UFO, that's not really a problem. For normal Kirby, it's a little bit of a problem. Anyways, it's not just to this stage and the boss, so definitely go ahead and read a couple donations.
Thank you. We got a $25 donation from Kirby's mom that says, donating on behalf of my daughter who loves Kirby so much. She loves GDQ, raises money to help people, and even gets a Yeti shirt to support the cause. So she said, I better donate during the Kirby run while she's at school.
That is adorable.
It is very adorable. We also got a $25 donation from Kabula Queen that says, big fan of retro Kirby games like Superstar and Adventure, so I get very excited to see a run. Thanks for running the game. Kirby had a great 30-year anniversary. Here's to 30 more. And then finally, we got a $25 donation from Kubaru that says, I am sad I am missing plenty of good runs due to work, but that won't stop me from donating to a good cause. Always happy to do that. Best of luck on the run, Darksol. Putting my donation towards the extreme tracks in Trackmania. And we are keeping on with those incentives, folks. Trackmania is going up there, $2,827 out of the $20,000. It is coming up later tonight. Keep on pushing those donations and call it a lamb. Fight the true final boss is coming up before, and it is at $8,269 out of the $50,000 needed. So those are definitely getting up there. Please keep them coming in, and thank you very much.
Yeah, just a remark about we never take the Kirby games to push some. Kirby tend to be the late games on the system a lot of the time. So a lot of the time they do actually push the system to its limits.
Dreamland 2 on the Game Boy, which came out in like 95, I think. That one is really great. That's such an amazing Game Boy game.
Okay, I'm gonna try this a few more times. This is the wildest.
Oh, yeah.
This is the wildest.
This one's difficult to get.
Alright, 2 more times.
I always think it's more difficult to get the ones that are vertical like this.
Alright, that's fine. So the reason I say that was the wildest is, like, you've seen how the game kind of glitches out and starts throwing garbage on the screen as I'm moving around. This one's the most noticeable because it looks like there's blocks everywhere as I'm trying to navigate through effectively bunches of pillars.
Yeah, if you get that one, the screen looks absolutely wild. The collision is very screwed up when it goes right, but unfortunately it's still frame perfect.
Yeah,
and quite difficult to get down.
Yeah, it's a hard one to get. Usually the vertical ones are a little bit harder for you than the horizontal.
Which, speaking of the next one,
I did want to show it off, but Jeff didn't want me to. That's fine.
Yeah, speaking of, the next one that shows up in 6-4 is much easier to get by comparison.
I like that I got that. And it just hit the... Yeah, it's fine.
It happens.
It's fine. Sparky wanted to say hi, so... we'll let him. Take down those enemies. Kirby's an air... You know what? Yoga kind of is an airboat. Now that you think... No, it's kind of an airboat. Sure. Honorary airboat.
Oh no, why did you say airboat? We got a $50 donation from Ryan D that says, shout out to the airboat with the Puyo and Kirby inside.
Oh, you know what? The one who said that, I wasn't disappointed.
Hearing airboat just makes me think of all of the ships you fly around in the Final Fantasy games. And now I'm just thinking of piloting a UFO in some Kirby RPG.
One can dream. I'd love to see that.
Honestly, Hal needs to make one. That would be great. Ooh, first try for
Okay,
that one,
yes. See, that one is always like, I don't know, just the way that enemy moves when it appears on the first frame, it's just like really easy to just pause it and get it. I don't know why. Like, I always think that's the easiest to get.
Also, I make that movement look easy, and it's so easy to soft lock in that stage.
Yeah, there's when you are going through walls, sometimes there can either be just like small pits where there's just collision wall within the wall where you can just get stuck inside of, or in other cases you can just kind of clip through the other ends of the walls and be where you don't want to be.
Alright, make sure we hit this Sparky. Okay, Sparky didn't really attack, so that's whatever. Let's wrap this, be safe. I have had moments where I've hit the Starfy, and I don't want to be at 1 health for the next stage, because that next stage is going to be a little bit rough.
I find the swordsmen in the water there to be funny, by the way, because when the water hits them, they start to die, but as they are vanishing, their sprites still have hitboxes on them, so you still have to shoot them out of your way.
Yeah, just our next stage has a lot that's gonna be going on. You've got what I like to sometimes call the UFO family reunion. That is because there are lots of UFO enemies, and they move very erratically, and they are hard to deal with sometimes, and they can and will just ram into you for no good reason, like that one did.
Yeah, UFOs out of most enemies are like all entirely random. They just kind of zip around however they please, and sometimes they actually fire their lasers, but that's like really rare for them to do.
Well, also, if that wasn't enough, they decided to do another 2 mini-boss things, but unfortunately, they both died in one hit.
And they always usually stay still for you as well, so they're not very challenging.
And then finally, we have the last Meta Knight's fight before Meta Knight himself.
Speaking of this fight, this arena is on ice. This arena is on ice, and doing it without UFO can be really tricky sometimes to like not slide around. But again, we just get to be too powerful for the game to handle.
Yep, and finally, like I said, Meta Knight himself, where we have to not use UFO but sword. Fun fact, you will actually keep UFO despite the fact that you have it through a glitch.
Yes, and actually it's funny, win or lose against Meta Knight, you get to keep the power that you have when fighting him.
Even if you game over, I have recently learned.
Really? I didn't know if you game over it would still do it.
Yeah, apparently it does, you still keep it. That's fine. I jumped too soon. There's a couple ways you can do it. You can do the, fly to the top of the screen and grab it, time your jump, although you won't fall as fast. And that was the one, if you don't get it, where you just kind of jump up and... Unfortunately, Kirby pops up because of the momentum.
So, in other categories, this room has a clip in it, but you don't get to do it with UFO because the normal clips and the normal runs involve using gaps on the floor that are 1 tile wide to fall through them. It would be really cool. I wish, like, as much as the pause clips have helped out this category, I still wish you could do more of the clips that you could do in the other ones.
It'd be really neat to find a way to do them if it ever existed. Now, our next stage here, I hope you've been enjoying the mini-boss fights. We're about to have 4 more in a row.
Speaking of, this stage is funny. On this version of the game, the door up here is just invisible, but in the GBA remake, they made it completely clear that there is something there.
Yeah, and later games also make it a little more obvious that something's there.
I love when that happens so much. They get hit rolling towards you, and then they bounce off the wall into it. Let's see if... Yep, nice. I love that so much. It's so fun.
Yeah, they can be a little trolly, and Firelane here especially likes to troll, because it can just jump over things, it can jump over you, to turn into a fireball if you're too close, it'll grab you and just claw you for a bit. It's great. Also, that room actually lasts because 2 of the ones are laid on top of each other, and that's why I suddenly gained 2 extra lives.
Yes, I'd say overall that level went pretty much perfectly. That was really good.
Anyways, Zone 3 is just gonna be some shooting, some more slopes. If there's any donation comments, feel free.
Thank you. We have a $200 donation from Plateau2876 that says, awesome AGDQ so far, everyone. Great runners, commentators, hosts, and all the crew and staff have been knocking it out of the park as well. Looking forward to an exciting Friday with all the runs and incentives tonight. Starting off strong so far with some Batarang, a great Gunstar run, and an always fun Kirby experience. And we got a $10 donation from Mufin. This says, Kirby's Adventure was my first game, and I am beyond excited to see it at AGDQ. Hoyo!
Honestly, it was also one of my first ones outside of, like, Atari stuff. Like this in, like, Mario 1.
This is not one of my first games, but I have grown to love it a lot. It's just so magnificent. I'm very glad to see everybody who's appreciative of this game as well. Some people tend to overlook this game just because it was a late release, and also some people don't like the lagginess of it from all the sprites. But those who know, we can appreciate this gem.
A little bit of a miss-time there, that's okay.
These rooms can be a little annoying. The very first room of the level in general is just one of the worst in the game. In fact, I've seen people call it like a Mario Maker room just because there's enemies haphazardly placed everywhere.
Yeah, I've even called it that a few times. We got just there's probably enough time for at least 1 or 2 more donations as we sit through this stage real quick.
All right, we got a $25 donation from Professor Nez that has a question. Why wasn't Kirby's Avalanche just named Poyo Poyo?
That's a good question. That's legitimately a good question. I feel like it probably just boils down to Compile probably wouldn't have liked that.
Quite possibly. I know I don't like that, but for a different reason. We also got a $20 donation here from Sev that says, awesome games by awesome runners for an awesome cause. Lesson 3.
Alright, we're just about into the final stage here. So this stage was done as a callback to Kirby's Dream Land. That was the first game in the series. This is the second.
These games only came out like a year apart from each other. It's a little funny to see this stage here, although I think the reason for that is just because it is so much more of like, you know, technological improvement being on the NES. It's basically just Dreamland but better, and I guess that's kind of what they were trying to go for with the vibes.
Yeah, I think they did a good job with the stage. Unfortunately, it's a little bit jarring into remake because, like, you see how all the enemies are Greytail here? So, you know, the only thing that isn't is Kirby himself, which is neat. The GBA version does not do that. And instead, every enemy is in color, and it just looks a little bit weird. A little bit risky. We're going to take that damage boost so we can do this just a little bit faster.
Ideally, we'll be fine at just 1 health. We have to fight DDD, who has more resistance to UFO, but he is still not invincible.
Also, unlike the other bosses, and I guess technically Shining Bright because they only take 2 hits instead of 3. DDD actually does, in fact, take 4 hits proper. But if we time them right, he is never going to get close to us. 1, 2, 3. Okay, good, he didn't jump. And let's give him a little hat over here.
Yeah, let's give him a UFO hat.
Perfect.
Awesome. Alright, and now onto the final part of the game, the last boss, Nightmare. Here we can't use UFO anymore, but that's okay.
Also, say it with me. Orb.
Orb.
That's the thing I've been waiting for this whole time. Like, yeah, you know what? They're gonna love this.
Now, I'm not gonna get too ahead of myself, but there might be something funny that could potentially happen, but it's literally never happened in any marathon runs before that I've known of. So, kind of just hoping. We'll see.
I don't think I'm gonna get from time too slow on this fight, and I might even die during it, which,
no, you're good.
At least. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So, if you get the war sword at a very specific point on the far right, the game doesn't know how to handle them for some reason. It'll just start scrolling.
Yeah, there's like a very specific pixel where when grabbing the star, the screen scrolling breaks and the background just keeps looping, and Kirby does not reach this point until like 2 minutes of scrolling through very wild backgrounds. It is extremely funny to see. I wish it would happen in a marathon at some point. Like, please.
Yeah, I was hoping for it. I've actually had it happen twice in my runs of this, and unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be. That's okay.
So, anyways, the
time will be coming up on the last hit on Nightmare here. This is hit number 4.
Yes. The first phase was the orb. The second phase is this, and Nightmare isn't really a boss with much luck to him.
Yeah, this wizard
slight
that looks like he's
variability.
straight from it. Yeah, this wizard.
Speaking of,
like
you've been doing very
80s.
good. The next hit should be time.
And time.
That was very nice.
Yeah, so while Nightmare is basically exploding, and we get to see something that's been in the series ever since this game, actually. Let me go ahead and give some shout-outs. First of all, shout-outs to Tracy, actually, because Tracy's helped me a lot with this run.
Yes.
Like I said, again, shout-out to Shiro. Shiro's an amazing runner. I hope he's been good with the commentary. And for the matter, the other streamers, shout-out to the Kirby community itself.
Yes, the Kirby community is one of the best speedrunning communities I've been in. Everybody is very kind, friendly, and generally helpful. Plus, we have really fun community events from time to time, which, speaking of, we have an annual Kirby Relay that should be happening within a few months, right?
Yeah. And also we have done, like, races just in general, but also, like the community one with, like, the classic titles in general. It's like a 5 to 6 hour run, but it's really fun. But yeah, if you want to play this game in particular, it's on Switch. If you have NSO, if you have Switch Online, this is the game that's on there up front.
Although the only sad thing about it on there is that sometimes it might randomly crash. It's kind of lame. But,
yeah, that's kind of why I didn't use that version. But yeah, like if you're interested in this run or any others in the series, speedrun.com/Kirby, I believe that's the right address. That'll take you to like the games in general. There's a Discord for most of the games and a few specific ones for a few of them.
And if anybody wants to learn this game, I would be glad to see it. I'm very passionate about it, and I love to see people running it. I love to help out new runners and help them improve.
Yeah, and Tracy knows a lot about this game, probably even more than I do. But regardless, we'd be glad to have you. Thank you to GDQ for having me. Is there any shout-outs that you want to give Tracy? I don't know if there's any you might have had in mind.
No, honestly, it was pretty much everybody. Like, just shortening it to the Kirby community. There's so many good runners. And again, Shiro Kirby, very great Japanese runner who has crushed many Kirby games. Yeah.
Including this one.
Yeah, so, no, honestly, there's too many people. It's hard to keep them all in mind.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that is it then. Yeah, thanks again for having us. Enjoy the rest of your morning.
Thank you very much for that amazing run there of Kirby's Adventure. Quick donation for the Kirby here. Nebula1701 with a $25 donation that says, an airboat Kirby sounds like it fits just right in that wacky world. Speaking of airboats, Is there an airboat track in Trackmania? Sending $25 to help us see the Trackmania Extreme Showcase. We are pushing ever closer to those showcases, folks. Do keep your donations coming in. And I hope you've been enjoying Games Done Quick here. But did you know that Games Done Quick is more than just 2 times a year? That's right. Mark your calendars, everybody, because we have Frost Fatales 2023, GDQ's next all-women charity speedrunning event is coming up on February the 26th through March 4th. The Frame Fatales community will be raising money for charity and spotlighting the talented women in speedrunning. For more information about the Frame Fatales, go to gamesdonequick.com/Frame Fatales or do !FF in the chat. If you're a woman interested in joining the FF community, DM at Frame Fatales on Twitter or head over to our website. And with the completion of that run, that is the end of my hosting block, and it's the last hosting block of GDQ for me. Again, a big thank you to the folks at GDQ who make these events as great as they are, to all you in chat for donating, joining us, you know, the runners, everybody. Really love hosting here. It's great fun. I hope you've all enjoyed the time. I will be jumping into chat with you all to enjoy the rest of the run. We're going to head over to a quick break, and then I'll be handing over to the ever wonderful Char Bunny. So remember, folks, stand up, stretch your legs, stay hydrated. AGDQ 2023 will be back after this.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Awesome Games Done Quick 2023 online, powered by Twitch and benefiting the Prevent Cancer Foundation. My name is Charbunny and I'm so excited to host for these next few runs. We've got Haiku the Robot, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD, and Metroid Prime 1 and 2 Multi-World Randomizer Co-op. Oh gosh, this is gonna be such a great day of video games. And for a lot of these upcoming runs, we actually have some bid wars that you can donate to. For Haiku, our very next run, you can help us choose whether or not we dunk the robot, because of course, or if we don't do that because it does actually lose time to dunk the robot. This is a little one-sided right now. We've got over $1,000 for dunk the robot and about $6 for don't dunk. That's okay though. I'm sure you have enough time to change that one around. A little bit closer, we have the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater HD Skater choice. Rodney Mullen is currently in the lead with $520, closely followed by Officer Dick at $408. We've got a little bit more time before that run, so plenty of time to get those donations in. And there are options for THPS1 Tony and Tony Hawk. So if you're a Tony Hawk fan or just want to see what the guy looks like, you can donate for those as well. And speaking of donations, of course, all of you have been sending in lovely donations for this wonderful cause. We have $25 from Oddball, who says, been watching GDQ since its inception, and I love this marathon. Shout out to all the runners and staff who make this event possible. Let's go fast and beat cancer. I agree. Great sentiment there. We have $15 from Elric, who says, long-time watcher, first-time donator. There've been a lot of cool runs already, and I can't wait for what the end of the week will bring. I know we are getting close to that end of week, but there are still so many games. Have you seen the schedule? It's fantastic. And right now on the schedule, but won't actually happen unless it gets met, is our bonus game, the Step Mania Technical Showcase. That is currently at $14,000 out of a needed $100,000 to get that met. And if you have seen any of our past rhythm game showcases, you know we have to see this. The rhythm game showcases are always a fantastically wonderful part of the marathon, and we're gonna wanna make sure that happens. So no time like the present to get those donations in for that one. All right, and with that, I hope you're ready to explore a mysterious mechanical marvel as we join Quacksilver for an any% run of Haiku the Robot. Good luck!